Hello, everyone. This is the Brother Benson Media, and we are here today doing our first live this year. I hope everyone is doing fine. Makubura, how is your new year? Yeah, we've lost you. Barak, how are you doing?
Uh,
Hello, brother Benson. I'm doing well.
Okay. How is your new year?
The new year is going on well. Maybe from your side.
We are doing well. At least we are not complaining. Meguda, what about you?
the new year is newing.
Okay. All right. Makubura, what about you? How is your new year?
Hello, everyone. I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm happy to see my brothers, Barak Miguda, and you, brother Ben,
Mhm.
na wenzetu watazamaji wote tunawalika. Mimi niko salama salmini, nashukuru Mola.
Asante sana. Hiyo vizuri ama tunasema kwamba ni kwema kama wewe uko vizuri, buheri wa afya. Ni siku mwingine tena ambapo tunataka kuja ili tujadiliane kwa yale ambayo yanaojiri ama yale ambao yalikuwa yameajiri hapo awali, kwa sababu habari njema ni kuwa wale mavijana ambao walikuwa wametekwa nyara karibu wote wamewachiliwa huru, na hiyo ndio mjadala ambao sisi tunataka kuzungumzia, tujue ni haswa nani alikuwa anafanya kitendo kama hicho na ni kwa nini. So let me take this opportunity to maybe give Mr. Barak to weigh your thoughts on the freedom. The boys are free, but they are disoriented from the way they are talking. It seems they went through a lot. What is your take?
It's a good thing that the five boys were finally released from their abductors, and it is not yet clear what really happened and where they were for the last. I think it's more than 2 weeks or so. And I can imagine to the families and friends, people who knew them. For us, we are just watching the news and following up on what's happened. But to their families, it was
Mm,
real life. It was a reality that they had to deal with, going through the Christmas season, starting a new year without not knowing where their kids were. So it was a traumatizing experience to the families. And I think the responsibility of ensuring that Kenyans are safe squarely lies at the doorstep of the government through the National Police Service, because that's why we are paying taxes. The sole responsibility of the government world over is to protect their citizens, because the government exists as a result of citizens paying taxes. And the social contract, you cannot pay taxes to a government that cannot protect you. So that is the predicament we are finding ourselves in as a country, because it seems that we are paying taxes to a government that is not able to protect us as citizens. And when you see government officials, when I was watching the IG saying that he is not aware of the abductions in Kenya, and
mm.
he doesn't know where these young men are. That statement was unfortunate, because the reason why he is in office to ensure that Kenyans are safe, and if the Kenyans' life is threatened, then he must tell us who is threatening the lives of these Kenyans. So I think the past week or so has been marked with a lot of drama from the political class and from the security agencies. But the good thing is that the boys are out, and I hope that very soon they're going to regain their memory, and they're going to tell us in detail what happened, and where they were, what really happened to them, and who abducted them. Because it is very important for Kenyans to know. It's very important for the world to know who is behind these abductions, so that going forward, no other Kenyan child or no other Kenyan will go through the same experience, because for sure it is not a good experience.
Okay,
That's my
thank you.
take.
That's your take, and I will ask you some few questions concerning about you've talked very well. You said that it is the responsibility of the government to make sure that everybody is safe. Yeah, we will come and tackle that. Maybe Makobura before. What is your thought on the release of the boys and how it has been for the last 2 weeks, especially for the families?
Okay, thank you so much. First, I want to acknowledge the fact that the people of Kenya came out in large numbers. Some of them went for demonstrations. Some of them, demonstrated via the social media platforms, and they were very clear. They said that the young boys who were abducted should be released. It was so unfortunate at first when we were being told that the police or the relevant people whom we know were responsible were at some point saying that they are not responsible. And so we were asking so many questions as a people because how would people be abducted within the territory of the Republic of Kenya without the authority or without the police or the relevant authority having known what is happening? So it was a game that was being played to me by the government official, the security departments, because it was wrong for them to deny the fact that they knew where these young boys were. Because these are people who were abducted during the day, and they were abducted using vehicles, and the number plates of these vehicles, the CCTV footage for all these things are there. It was so unfortunate that the police, the security department would come out to deny that they are not aware. If it is true that they were not aware, then I have to admit and to tell the people of Kenya that we are in a country where our lives are not secure and anything can happen to us. And so we need to wake up and protect ourselves, because it is the role of the police officers to protect the lives of the people of Kenya. As stipulated in the Constitution, it is the right of a leader, a government led by the president. Remember, he swore, he carried the Constitution and the Bible, and he said that he's going to anenda kulinda wa Kenya. And we've not seen that. So it is so unfortunate that the young boys had to go through that trauma. I know it is not a good thing. And it is so also unfortunate that they were being denied a right that we've been given in the Constitution, freedom of press, freedom of movement, because they were being abducted, detained in a closed place. They were unable to move just because they expressed what they thought, was right according to them.
Okay.
It is not an offense to criticize a government. And so the manner in which these young boys were arrested, the manner in which they were treated, to me, it is against what we call democracy and what is stipulated in the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya.
Okay, thank you so much, Makobura, for that. And on the comment section, let me take this opportunity to welcome Gibson Connor on the comment section, and Happy New Year to you. I hope your year started very, very, very nice. And we are here. We are going to have this discussion and to look at it into detail, because we are looking at this is a government, or this is a country whereby it's governed by the rule of law, whereby each and every citizen is supposed to have that security. They are security operators that have been given the mandate to protect Kenyan people. And this is a situation whereby people are missing for 2 weeks. Then again, we will come to look at the conduct of the political elite. Do they portray good leadership, or do they portray patriotism and the rule of law, or the mandate and the powers that have been given by the Constitution to practice it? Before we go there, let me invite Miguda and share his experience, maybe about the boys and what you can say on this subject.
What I can say about the subject, in my view, first, there must be a command center. There must be some people somewhere who have plotted all the events. Those people who are controlling the command center, I believe that they're part and parcel of those people in government, or they're the government. Then there's that operational, whereby the police officers or the people in civilian clothes, those people who have covered their face, they are carrying out the operation. The people carrying out operation are receiving direction from the command center, whereby they are receiving intels on whatever to do with the those people who have been abducted.
Yeah.
And the reason why I could say that, because even in the process whereby these people have been abducted, we cannot know whether they have gotten food, whether they have gotten water, whether they were bathing, or some of them might have been infected with some disease like pneumonia or asthma. We don't know the status of where they were detained or where they were put. And you find that the reason why I can believe that maybe there is a command center somewhere, because there were people who were defending the abduction. Actually, you heard them during the weekend and during the burial of Wetangula, the speaker's mom. There were people who were defending the abduction, and they were insisting that they should implement Computer and Cybercrime Act. In my view, I can laugh at them, because when these people were released today and they are now walking free, and the people who are castigating these people that they have committed crimes in contrary to the Cyber and Computer Act, why can't they just take these people who are abducted tomorrow and present them in the court of law, because they are all known? They have refused to do that. It means that these guys had not committed any crime, and there's no any credible evidence that can prove that these people committed a crime. These abductions are, in my view, they are just political, whereby they are suppressing the young people not to air their views or not to critique the government. That could be my view.
Okay, thank you so much. And talking about the suppressing the views of Kenyans, and just before I bring in Barack, because Barack talked about the government as the right to protect the people. I was having a conversation with one of my friends from a neighboring country, and we were talking in Kiswahili. Akaniambia kwamba unajua kuna wale ambao wanataka kukula na malkia ama wanataka kukula na katika ile ufalme ama unataka kukula na mfalme, na wakati unataka kukula kwa mfalme, na unajua chakula cha mfalme ni ile chakula ambayo inaangaliwa sana, kwa sababu wana imani nayo, kwa sababu ni kwamba mtu anaweza kuwa na nia ya kuchukua maisha ya mfalme. Lakini wanasema ukitaka kukula kwa sahani ama kukula pamoja na mfalme, lazima ujue uzito wa sahani. Lakini sasa hiyo inatuleta katika uongozi. Wakati unaingia katika uongozi, lazima ujue uzito wa uongozi ni nini. Kwa zile utajua kwamba kuna wakati wale ambao hata kama unafanya vizuri bado watakukosoa, kwa sababu hauwezi fanya watu bilioni wafikirie kwa njia moja. Kuna wale watakuwa na mawazo tofauti. So lazima ujue thamani na uzito wa hiyo sahani. So Barack, thank you so much, and I want to about the protection of the government. If you're very keen, the boys who were released today, there's a similarity in them, and one of the things that is similar about them, or one characteristic, is that they were very critic about the government, especially using of the AI technology. What does this one tell you? And the same time you're saying, okay, government need to protect these guys, yet the government that it should be protecting them are the government that they are criticizing. What does one tell you?
Well, the government interpreted their actions as I think if you listen to the politician, I think sharing of the AI generated image of the president in a coffin, that was the genesis of all of their predicament. And you've had a Capsarate member of parliament saying more than twice that if he were the CS for interior, that those young people who are sharing such images will not be will not be I think will not be allowed to continue with such activities. We just only need 3 days to stop that. So you find that because of the use of AI, uh, uh, the government did not take it lightly that anyone can generate the image of the president in a coffin. So you find that we are having a government that is so intolerant and is not able to listen to any dissenting voices. They take dissent as a way of undermining the authority of the president, and
Yeah.
they can go at all level to ensure that they clamp down on anybody who is having any dissenting voices. And and if you listen to some voices who are pro-government right now, you just know that we are in a big problem as a country, because these are voices that people who are used to speaking from both sides of their mouths. And if you listen even to both political divide, someone can defend abduction right now because uh, somebody else was doing it in the previous regime.
Yeah.
So you are saying that because the previous regime was doing it, so it is not wrong for the current regime to continue with abduction. And that's a very weird way of reasoning as a leader. And we are having a problem with even with the leadership, because people defend depending with where they stand or where they sit. So you find that because some leaders are now pro the government or pro Ruto, they will say that even during Uhuru we've had bodies in Rivayala,
Yeah.
and so what's a big deal? You remember how Natembea was castigated at Mama Wetangula's burial.
Yeah.
You cannot commit a crime because somebody else committed the same crime but was not arrested. That in itself does not make any sense, even in the legal profession. You treat a crime individually. So you cannot say that because you stole yesterday and you are not arrested, so I'm also free to steal today and nobody should question. So we are having a very tricky situation as a country, where if you are having a dissenting voice, especially with this the target of people who are using the online space to criticize the government, because it's like even we don't have active opposition in this country. So the online space is the only available avenue for Kenyans to call out the government, even and also to hold the government to account, because we are seeing even institutions like the legislature, that is mandated constitutionally to hold the government to account, is failing terribly, and even members of parliament are admitting that parliament is sold off. So who will stand in for Kenyans? We only have the online space where we can come in and call out the government, remind the government to fulfill their promises, and to criticize their policies that are not working. So if they clamp down on social media, then I think we are going down a very, very dangerous route.
Okay, thank you so much. Because now we are talking about retrogressing. Because when some of the stories that we listen to, or some of the story that we usually get, we read them in the books, or they are being told by those who came before us, especially in the Moi regime. People tend to compare what is happening now and with what was happening in the Moi regime. But the difference is, in the Moi regime, i- they were not as young as the young men that were abducted and were released today. In the Moi regime, they were a little bit, their ages were a little bit higher, would I say so, compared to this one. And Makubura spoke about something, express of the right that has provided, or the right that is provided in the constitution. And now we are talking about the constitution and the use of the cyber and the morals, because like the moral also, you hear the political class are talking about that their children should be taught on how to behave on the internet. And also we have the right and we have the internet. How can you explain to us on how you can be moral, yeah, moral values of the society, the same time you have that right? And that right also, you should not infringe on other person's right.
Is that my question or Barak?
You.
Okay, very well. Okay, thank you, thank you. What what we've been seeing is, remember, we're in a country where the level of unemployment is so high, and the people who are affected, the majority are youths, and you find that these youths are learned. Some of them are still within in the university. Some of them have just finished and they have no job. Once you acquire knowledge, and then you have nowhere to put that knowledge, you have nowhere to put you have nowhere to share or to build your nation using that knowledge, it becomes very frustrating. And that is why you're seeing, sometimes back there was a high level of depression, and actually we are still experiencing depression in the Republic of Kenya, whereby youths are dying. They're simply, some of them are even committing suicide just because they are learned. They've taken their time to go through the whole process of education with all that expense that is required, but they have not managed to secure a job, and this is really stressing the youth. You cannot constrain what a youth, someone who has gone to school and gotten education and knowledge, you cannot constrain them from doing something. If they are bored, what do you want them to do? There are no jobs. You are the president, you are the member of parliament, you are the governor. You cannot ensure that you bring policies which can let them, can make or create jobs within the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah.
When these people are jobless, they have nothing to do. The only thing that they can afford is some little data. And when they have the data, they need to try. Remember, we're in a technology oriented environment. We are in an environment where the level of technology is, things are coming up each and every day, new things in technology. And so you have to try, you have to advance yourself, you have to ensure that the new techs that are coming in, you're also updated. If these young men or boys tried AI and AI gave them the whatever gave them, and then they posted, I don't see any problem with that. If these young people wrote to their social medias criticizing a government that has a responsibility of taking care of their lives, a government that has a responsibility of ensuring that their lives, moves well, a government that has a responsibility that, the economy runs. If that government fails, and then you go to a social media and you remind that government, I don't see any problem. Remember, we elected members of parliament.
Okay, let me
And
ask you. Let me ask you, Makubura, because we need to make things here straight. You don't see the problem of criticizing the government. Yes, that is okay. But to what extent would you criticize the government? Because even Ayaga is saying here that I think oversighting does not involve an insult and an AI made picture a first lady and those abducted bloggers, i.e., a bull has been used by the state to maliciously bring damage online. Anyway, the question that I want to ask you is about you say that the respect and the use of social media. At what point or to what extent should we go if we have to criticize and do the oversight?
Brother Ben, remember, we're in a country where we've got legislators, we've got the members of parliament. These are people who should be representing the constituents, the people.
Mhm.
They make laws,
Yeah.
over there. They represent the people. They take the views of the people in that parliament. And not once, but several times, we've seen them having their own opinion. We've seen them not representing the voices of the people. We've seen them not presenting the voices of the people. But what we've seen is, we've seen members of parliament or a parliament that is supporting everything that the executive brings forth. And so the question is, would you rely on a member of parliament who does not present your views in the parliament to fight for you? The answer is automatically no, you cannot. The only way, we've tried several times, we are the use of the East Republic. Remember, we went for demonstrations sometimes back. Somehow that communicated and the finance bill was withdrawn. After that, they regrouped and they've forgotten the pleas and everything that the youths presented before them. And so we are seeing a government that has totally forgotten about the people. And so what the youths are doing is they are continuing, uh, reminding the government of their role.
Yeah.
And when they do this, normally we are supposed to do it through the members of parliament, but they're not listening. The only way is to inject. And if you inject in a way that it is going to attract their attention. And that is what the people are doing.
Okay.
The young
Oh,
people are really disappointed with the government in power.
all right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me bring in Miguda, and I want to ask him the same question. Miguda, at what extent? Because we know that the oversight has really failed, because right now we do not have like opposition, because those who deem to be in the minority side has joined the government, and even how sometimes they make their speeches would tell you like this is how it has happened. So as we speak right now, we do not have that opposition or the minority and somebody who can put the government at check. But now we have the use of social media that is used like the way to oversight the government. But as we oversight, or as we do our checks and balances, or as we put the threats and pressure on government, at what extent even should we use the AI generated uh, images? Because from the from the onset, or from the abduction, that might have triggered the abduction, because there are those who have tweeted in their X spaces but did not use the AI generated messages. They were not abducted, but those who did through the generated images were abducted. So at what point should we criticize the government with the AI, or what to what far?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't think there is time limit for criticism.
Yeah.
There's not that time framework for any person to criticize government.
Yeah.
I believe that the only thing that we should not do, or the
Yeah.
people who accuse the government should not do, we should not go personal. You should
Yeah.
not go personal. Even if, as a politician, if you have your
Yeah.
opponent, do not go personal. Don't involve family, don't involve personal. Just base your criticism on the policies and the manifestos of the person you are opposing to. For instance, the Kenya Kwanza administration gave us the manifestos and gave us promises. That is what we are criticizing. That one we will criticize without any fear or
Yeah.
any contradiction, because if they promise people that we will give you affordable houses, if they promise people that there will be money in your pocket, if they promise people that we are going to stabilize the economy, and we are not feeling it as a people of Kenya, that one we are going to criticize them. But we are not going to go personal. And the issue why I'm bringing that, because there are those people who are putting some writings which are even worse than the AI images. I don't see why they are taking those people who have generated AI images to the X space, but they are leaving those people who have used those writings. It means that they do not understand what is criticism. Criticism does not mean that if I put your image, that now I'm liable for any offense. It's not true. What I believe is that the only thing we cannot do, or the only thing that we should refrain our youth to do, is to go personal when it comes to politics. But whenever the government is not delivering to the people of Kenya, people will not sympathize with the government, people will go neck to neck with the government, them, and if they are afraid of criticism, then there is that option for resignation. They can resign and let the other administration take over, or we can go proper way. But there is no room, or there's no time frame or limit for criticism that you should criticize us to this extent. Then if you reach here, you should stop, or you should begin from this and stop from this one. No, they are just regulations. And that's why in my first submission, I said that if at all those guys who had abducted committed any crime or any offense under our laws, now they are free, they're with their families. The police can issue a warrant of arrest, they arrest them and present them to the competent court, then they can be charged with such offenses, then they can be sentenced or they can be acquitted. But if there is no even arrest to those people, there is no charge to those people, it means that there is no credible evidence to put before the public or the court that these people committed a certain offense. That's why I'm saying the criticism, there's no time, There's no framework, but you have to criticize the government based on the policies and on the manifesto and the issue. We will not only go personal.
Okay, now when we talk about moral values of the society or societal morals, you know, and especially like young people who are growing up, because this is also the politician has taken it upon themselves to tell the parents, you need to teach your children to have morals, that these children have lost morals. What can you say about that?
What I can say about that one is there's no yardstick to measure morality, Brother Benson.
Mm.
And when you talk about morality here, you talk about moral and immoral. The fact that I'm not moral, it doesn't mean that the person who is taking action against me is moral. Maybe in my own way, I might not be moral based on certain circumstances, but the other person who is carrying out action against me is also not clean. Is also immoral because what is moral to you doesn't mean that it is moral to me, according to me. And to answer your question is there are no children here. These people they are referring to children. Some of them have wives, some of them have spouses, some of them they have children, some of them are beyond 18 years and above. These are not children. These are the people who some of them are going to vie for seats in 2027. Some of them are going to vie for MCA seats. Some of them are going to go for the parliamentary seats. Some of them are going to vie for senators, governors, and women rep. These are the people who can make decisions on their own. And leave alone those people who are living there. Some of them are living on their own. These are youths who are living on their own. They pay their own rents, they manage their own bills. You can't refer to them as kids and urge their parents to treat them moral. These are the people who are adults, they can make their own decision. That's why they prefer that for them, the system is not working for them. They opt to criticize it. There is no room. They will call these people that they are kids or should be getting advice from their parents. Some of them are beyond advice. Some of them are even orphan. They don't have those parents who should even take care of them. The point is here, there is no yardstick to measure morality. That the fact that someone is immoral, it means that the person who is giving that order from above, him is moral. That one, there is no yardstick for you to measure morality.
Okay, thank you so much. And the use of cartoons or the drawings is not very new in our country. It's just like with the advancement in technology, it's it's now used in the AI, because from the beginning, even when we were in high school, there are those who are blessed on how to draw those cartoons, on how to send messages. Even in the Daily Nation, Standard, all those major big newspapers, there are those section of cartoons. And sometimes you would find during the campaigns when a party falls, like I remember the days when LDP joined with KANU, you can find a cartoonist, for example, puts the LDP or KANU and put them in a coffin. Then they put that coffin in there, and they will write the party that is swallowed is in the coffin. Sometimes they would say the king is naked. They might give the president, and maybe they made him to face on the other side. You know, now we have the old tech of cartoon, and now we have the new generation. Um, what is the difference, Mr. Barak, and why is it what the new tech is creating jitters among those who are being criticized as compared to the ones that are in the papers?
Thank you, Ben. I think if you remember, I don't know if you can remember someone who was called Whispers.
Yes.
You know, it's only that there's a lot of advancement in terms of technology, and also news these days. F- f- News travels very fast as opposed to uh, in the past when we were only dependent on Voice of Kenya or Kenya Broadcasting Corporation to air news. And KBC was very selective on what they used to air to the public, because the KANU had to sanction the news before the news anchors went on live on air. So I think there's no much difference, because the intention of a cartoonist is to communicate using maybe a hidden message. So they communicate, but they do not communicate fully. So you are left for as a reader, or as someone who is who is going to interpret the message, to come up with your own interpretation, or your own conclusion. And that is why, if you remember, Gado has been very critical, I think in the Daily Nation, or on our dailies, because Gado has been communicating through the cartoon, and he's sometimes they get it right, and sometimes they don't get it right. So that's how cartoonists work, and uh, world over, cartoon has been used to communicate, especially to criticize uh, those in authority when they do things that do not really do not do, the things that are not that do not go well with the public, that goes against the expectation of the public. So I don't think there is a much difference. I think there's more similarity than difference, because apart from the advancement of technology that is now making cartoon more visible, and more viable as a tool to criticize the government.
Yeah.
And even those who are there before, they are also exposed to materials, or to technology that was aiding them to perform the same role in their time, even though it was not very effective, because you could only write that in a newspaper. But right now you can write in a social media, you can access so many audience, you can access millions of people with just a click on your computer. So that is, I think, that was the only limitation that people who are there before, like Whispers ahead, and even Gado, because they depended on the newspaper. But right now, those who are drawing such images do not need to depend on any newspaper, because the technology is so much advanced, and they are not limited like those one before. So before I call it, I just wanted to mention something that my co-panelist said here. Uh,
Sorry.
me,
Okay.
Mark said that people who are being abducted by the Moi regime were all advanced in age. I don't. If you look at Moi regime, Moi started with abducting university students, and if you look at her after the 1982 coup, majority of the university students even were executed. And if you go and just follow up on the history of what happened after the 1982 coup, university, especially University of Nairobi students, were the majority of them were casualties, and so Moi was not really abducting people who are advanced in age, but he was going for anybody that he felt was a threat. And in this case, majority of them were University of Nairobi students, and I think even during 1982 coup, more than 200 of the University of Nairobi students were victims of abduction and murder at the hands of the Moi regime. And if you look at those who are being abducted later on, there are people who have shown interest now in politics by going against the KANU and the one party dictatorship of Moi. So because they already exposed themselves as the leaders, that's how now Moi's men went for them and abducted them and detained them without trial. And those who are lucky, you heard Ajakoya say the other day that Aida Odinga helped him to go through Uganda and fled to Europe. So those who are lucky went in exile. Those who are not lucky were captured, and they were done away with. So in any regime that is in power, they normally go for the young people, because that is the future, and that is, the young people are the people who hold the future of a nation. And that is why the many governments are normally threatened by the presence of young people who are vibrant, young people who are showing that they understand what they want. They want accountability in leadership, they want transparency in leadership. Normally, people who have dictatorial, or people who are autocrats, they normally don't sit well with such people, and that's why you find that in any regime, the young people should who are vibrant will be abducted and will be detained, so and so forth. Back to you, Ben.
Okay, actually, I'm the person who said, because like I was looking at it, like if you look at um the age at which nowadays people join universities, they join universities at maybe the younger ages as compared to or during the days of Joaquin Orengo, because it was not even very easy to join university during those days. There are just only like a few elements of people or counted people who joined the university. So, but now, if you see these kids, somebody at around 19, they are already in the campus and they're making influence. That's what I was trying to compare the ages of them and during the days. So now let's come to the leadership, because at the end of the day, despite all the abduction that is taking place, it all points at the leadership, especially the leadership of the country. And right now, as we speak, the president is the leader of the country. That anytime a country is at crisis, anything is happening, being a father of the nation, everything shall fall on you or will fall on you. But does the president is aware that abductions were taking place? Was he aware, Mr. Makobura?
There is a saying which goes that youths are the future leaders.
Yeah.
And if you remember in the book or in the gospel, if you remember the King Herod,
Mhm.
when during the time that there were in that region, all the women who were expectant and had given birth to male children, remember the king had ordered that they be killed. The reason being, King Herod felt threatened, and he knew that someone was coming among these people who were being killed that was going to overthrow him, someone who was going to be very powerful. This is what we are seeing in the political class. The political class are threatened because they're seeing a group of young people who are aware of their rights, a group of young people who are agitating for their rights, a group of young people who knows, who tends to know what is right. And remember, currently the people who are in leadership, starting from the president and majority of them, they existed during the time of Moi, and they want to think or to believe that they can treat this generation the way Moi treated them. And that is where they are messing. You cannot, as a president, the president has the powers. And remember, we also have the constitution. He's supposed to first, protect the youths as a president. He's supposed to, ensure that the youths are liberty to do what they want. He should actually come out and tell the people who are abducting. If suppose he's not aware, then they should stop abducting. Remember, whatever is happening in this government, the buck stops with the president. Currently, we are talking about abductions which happened during the reigns of Moi. We are not mentioning the police officers. We don't even know their names. We don't even know the people who are abducting these people. Maybe those times they knew them. But we are talking about a government that was led by, one Moi. Ruto has to get out of all this mess. If truly is a leader, and especially in this era, this is an era that, to me, I would advise the president that he should not make the kind of mistakes that he's making. We're in a period where whatever you do in this country, whoever is in America, whoever in which part of the republic, of the world, they will get that information the same way the person in the republic would get. And the narrative or the notion that the people within the world are having towards this government is not a good one. He has to show to the world that is a president who respects the lives of the people. He's a president who respects the constitution. He's a president that is leading a group of leaders whose mandate are to ensure that they make change in their country. It is so immoral for members of parliament, especially those who are not within the Kenya Kwanza government, to come out and also, support the abductions. It is so immoral for elder men, political elder men, to come out and, support the abductions. It is so immoral, for senior political leaders to come out, and to, support abduction whereby, someone comes, takes you without, letting you know where you're going. They go confine you in a room. They don't go start beating you just because you posted something. It is so wrong, and we should not be experiencing such kind of things.
So now,
This
okay, yeah, I agree with you. It's so wrong. But now the question is, because as a president has like security apparatus that will always brief him of security issues that are happening in the country. He's always being briefed because with his committee. But it took almost a week or 2 weeks, yeah, when these young men were abducted. So my question to you is the president aware that such like abductions are taking place?
to
Because
me,
it reached a point whereby even the IG was saying, okay, he was not aware.
can I tell you something? It is even the government apparatus, if you ask me, or the government machineries are the ones which were used to locate this gentleman. So it is in the radar of the government. That's a fact. Anything cannot happen. Abductions of more than 5 people cannot happen in a country without the knowledge of the security apparatus residing in the territory of the Republic of Kenya. It was so immoral for them and so embarrassing that a government would come out, the security apparatus would come out and hold a press conference and say that we are not aware, of what is also happening. We are not aware of the abductions which are taking place, that we are not aware that our young men are being taken. And so the question that would come into your mind, if you're not a Kenyan citizen, or if you're coming from, other continent, especially this continent that their government protects their people, the UK, the USA, they will tell you not to go to Kenya because in Kenya, people are being abducted and the government is not aware, the security apparatus is not aware, and it is being done during the day. That is my take.
Okay, thank you so much. There's a video here that I want to share with you. Is about for talking about who is behind abduction. Let me see. Okay, is somebody?
All is about abductions. Kuna propaganda inaendelea which is not really pleasing. And it is a propaganda sponsored by the government of William Ruto. That all the abductees, vijana ambao wameshikwa, ethnic na watu wengine
I don't know. Maybe my internet is not working.
Yeah, it seems that I don't
Is
know.
a,
Yeah, internet is not very stable.
on my side. Okay, so that was one of he used to be a blogger for UDA, and he had this. This is now the second video that he's releasing, and he's talking about abduction. And the reason why I was bringing the issue of the president is the president is aware of what is taking place due to the fact that the president has apparatus and this is happening in his country. The police kind of denied those and said that we don't know what is happening. And now he came and gave out some names, and there was also that blame game on the leadership.
Brother Ben, I want to tell you something
Yeah.
on this that you're just speaking about. In any serious country,
Yeah.
if I was the president and you are the IG,
Mhm.
And if you remember, the constitution has delegated power to the police. They have they have all the machineries, and they have a role. If I am the president and such thing has happened under my watch, the first thing is you as the IG, I will send you home because you've not done what is expected of you. Abduction cannot happen 1, abduction 2, abduction 3, abduction 3, 4, up to 6 or 7. And then you come, hold a press, and tell the people of Kenya, you as the IG, that you're not aware of people who are abducting the people. That clarifies and says that, you are incompetent as the IG, and you are not even aware of what your role entails. That is what we are seeing. If truly the government was not aware of what is happening, we would actually not see the IG coming out to hold such kind of press. And even the members of parliament would have come out he would have actually been summoned long time ago to explain to the people, because that is endangering the lives of the people. Do you know, this is a serious thing. Abduction, people are just being abducted during the day, and the government comes out and holds a press and tells the whole nation and the whole world that they're not aware. Kwani how are they located if not using the, this is a joke that we are seeing.
And let me bring in Miguda. I know Miguda. We are talking of this, and we are talking about also like the blame games, and this one brings it about to the leadership that we have, because this is something that is touching on the fabric of our nation. It is so much such that no any parent or any family would want to go through that. Yeah, no any other parent or family would want to go through what these gentlemen that were the boys were released today have gone. And this is a nation. You've talked of some governments would give advisory to their citizens, do not go to this country. But now when you find a leader is talking about like some of these young men are abducting themselves, and Miguda, what is your take on that in relation to the leadership? Oh, Miguda left.
That's Barak. That's Barak, not Miguda. I think Miguda left.
Oh, okay, because I thought it was Miguda. Okay. Barak, I was giving question to Miguda, yet he was not around. Now, we've had some leaders, yeah, even like as from yesterday, I think so. They were talking of this abduction, and they were saying that some of these are self-initiated abductions, whereby people would abduct themselves, and they want to get some money from some organization. Also, at the same, you had some comments, especially coming from the Oscar Sudi, and we had one from Arun Cheruiyot, the way they were making these comments about the use of internet. How can somebody abduct themselves when these are the legislature, and this is something that is affecting the country? And instead of even calling out the speaker and say like, you need to convene a house immediately so that we can discuss, the only thing is they go and make these assumptions or some set statements that are heartbreaking. What does that one talks about the leadership of the country?
They actually hold press conference, and then they start telling the people of Kenya that hawa watu wanapaka serikali vibaya. Those are members of parliament, imagine.
So what does it talk about the members of parliament instead of convening? Because it's something touching on the fabric of the nation.
Well, I think this speaks volume of the quality of leaders that we have. But normally, as I usually don't blame elected leaders because they don't elect themselves. They are elected by Kenyans to represent their respective constituencies. So when you hear Kapseret member of parliament talking, when you hear George Waluke
Waluke.
when you hear Kimani Ichung'wah talking, when you hear Aaron Cheruyot, these are people who are elected. And so the question that we should be asking ourselves, do we really as Kenyans understand the power of the ballot when we go to vote? Because you cannot be misusing your power of to vote, then complain of the leaders that you voted for. These are just they are a reflection of our society, how sycophants our society is. Because Waluke is a convict. In fact, he was jailed I think for around 70 years. But he's out there masquerading as now someone who can now advise the president on matters of security, because abductions are matters of the national security. When you see a member of parliament becoming so much sycophant that you can imagine that you can assume that they don't even have a brain of their own, it is because they are looking for protection. They are looking for state protection. And if it's not state protection, they're looking for state favors. And in this country or in third world country, for you to get state protection or to get state favors, you must prove to the president that you don't have a brain of your own. And that is what is ailing us as a country. If you listen to Atwoli, with all due respect to Mzee Atwoli, claiming that people are adapting themselves so that they can get money from Amnesty International and all other international organizations, and you can see these guys being abducted in broad daylight. Their parents are crying out to the government to produce them. Yeah? And you, a leader who is respected, who has even been honored by international organization, you come and speak in front of the president. And it is because he was campaigning against the president, so he's trying so much to get favors from the president. We all know this. Kimani Ichung'wah knows very well that he cannot be elected again in Kikuyu constituency. So he's trying so much to prove the president that he can defend him, so that in case the president gets a second term, he will be given a position in government, because he knows he cannot be elected again. Yeah. And I will excuse others, because they behave like Mulili. I usually compare them with Mulili in the play of Betrayal in the City. So such guys you don't even need to speak about, because you know that they are not even themselves. So you find that the quality of leaders that we have, I think it's high time for Kenyans to start asking themselves questions, because you cannot have a member of parliament who is a national members of parliament, or even though they represent constituencies, they sit at the National Assembly. So anything that's affecting the country, they should voice them out. They have the mandate to protect the integrity of the citizens of this country. And they cannot just be going to funerals to argue there, to point fingers. You cannot just be going in the church and start complaining there. And you sit at the National Assembly. Kenyans are paying you from their hard-earned taxes. And you are there. You cannot even summon. You cannot even advise the speaker to convene the House and discuss the issues of abduction. If the IG is saying that he does not know where these boys were, why can't they convene the parliament, the House, and summon the IG to come there and answer questions that Kenyans are asking? Because they are the people who cleared the IG the other day, and he was given the job. And if the IG is proving to them that they were wrong by clearing him, they should call him and recommend his removal from office. That is why parliament exists. Parliament is not a house for content creators and people who are just lamenting and catwalking and doing all manner of things. They should be holding the executive to account. Yeah.
And
So
if you listen to some of the members of parliament, they're speaking with some kind of like entitlement, like this government or this presidency is ours, you know, whereby the member of parliament saying that, okay, I wish I could have been given only within 3 days, hii maneno tutakuwa tumemaliza. That entitlement, why is that one so? Does it mean that the type there's when the constitution works and when it doesn't work?
Wachana na Mulili. Unajua Mulili does not understand so many things. You know this character. If you read The Betrayal in the City and you understood the character of Mulili, this was a character that was just because the presidency comes from their community, so he has removed any sense of reasoning from their heads, so that as long as you are talking about the president, then you become an enemy, and they don't understand even that even parliament is part of the government. If you remember what you were taught in, I don't know, if in class 4 or class 5, that the government has 3 arms: the executive, legislature, and the judiciary.
Yeah.
So they should understand what the government is all about and what constitutes the government. And even if you are given that position, these are people who can fail terribly. You think that if you are given a position, then now you remove the constitution, you now act outside the constitution, because every action that of public official or government official take, they are guided by the constitution. They have limits. Yeah, that's why you are seeing the IG coming clean and saying, I don't know, because he understands that even as the IG, there are limits. Because abductions are not anywhere within our constitution. If someone has gone against the constitution says that they are arrested and produced in a court of law within 24 hours. And there is nowhere where the constitution says that if you criticize the government, you will be abducted. It is not within our constitution. And even those who are pro abduction, if you listen to them, they do not understand. Because if someone tells you that teach your children manners, if you don't teach your children manners, so it means they'll be abducted. So where do we have such articles in our constitution?
But you know that okay, go ahead.
If someone breaks the law, the constitution is very clear on what should be done. Abduction is not among them. So that is why I'm that now brings us to the question: what kind of leaders do we send to parliament to represent us? If a speaker of a senate can tell Kenyans that asiyefunzwa na mamae ufunzwa na ulimwengu, and sasa ulimwengu ina adapt watoto wenyu kwa sababu hamjawafunza, and this person is still in office drawing salary from taxes that we are paying as Kenyans, it is an insult to the people of Kenya. So I think this is a big lesson for Kenyans going forward.
What is going forward? What can we go forward on? Because like let's even continue and look at it in terms of like we're looking at the government. Right now, there are so many challenges that Kenyans themselves are facing. Count when it comes to classes for the new, because we don't have Form 1s in this year. We do not have Form 1s. They need classrooms. Those are not there. We have issue with the Shire Chief. We have issue that Kenyans now are complaining about the vaccination of these animals. Yeah, and here is where all the efforts and the energy is on the abduction, and that is what people are speaking about. But the real issues that are affecting Kenyans, they don't give it so much effort the way they've done with abduction. Yeah, and we talk about the moral. How then can we question the morality of the kids that should be taught with their parents? Yet you as leaders in the public, what you speak does not even meet the threshold of somebody who is called the moral values of the society.
I think you just mentioned something about the grade 9 classes, and I was just discussing with someone today, and Kenyans, we love comedy so much.
Mhm.
You remember the last year of Uhuru regime, Professor Magoha led the construction of new classes for grade 7 students who are supposed to join high school. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And the government actually constructed more than 10,000 classes in different high schools in this country. Those classes are there. Form 1 classes that Form 1s have been using are empty. But the government is forcing grade 9 students to be domiciled in primary school where we don't have new classes, and they are struggling to build new classes when we have idle classes in high schools, simply because they don't want to come up with a mechanism to transition these students to high schools. And I don't know if you saw some schools right now, is where now they are trying to lay the foundation for classes, and yet this week from today, these students are reporting in school. So you wonder, where is the rationale when we have empty classes in high schools that were constructed for grade 7 who never transitioned to high schools, and also we have classes that Form 1s have been using in high schools, and they are going to be to be there idle, and the government is struggling, claiming that they can construct new classes for grade 9 so that they can continue being domiciled in primary schools. It is just lack of rationality. And that's why you see that the government, instead of bringing solutions to the people of Kenya, they are creating problems. Because this issue of grade 9, it proves it just a demonstration that we don't have leadership, especially in this education sector. Because a leader or leadership should be problem solving, not problem creators.
Mhm.
And that's why you see when we have challenges in health sector, because leaders are there to create problems instead of solving problems. And we have problems even in security. We have problems all over, because the leaders we have, they are there to create problems for us
Yeah.
instead of solving the problems that we currently have.
Yeah. Makubura, and there's a Douglas, our friend, is bringing up some issue here that we need to. I say that, but even Miguna ask valid questions. I go visit Omtata, then next, the person I last met reports my abduction. That is there. Then he talks also like don't really rule out some abduction done for political reasons. Yes, and we are not ruling out that, but now we are questioning the integrity of leaders, and we are not narrowing it down to maybe the president, but the president take the larger share because he's the father of the nation. But now, what is the role of our other leaders, the members of parliament? It's happening. One of the things that you are the reason why you are called the member of parliament, the National Assembly, which means you deliberate on the issues that affect the nation. Yeah, then you should be, as a member of parliament, reconvene, ask the speaker to reconvene parliament immediately, and ask the relevant authority or the people in office like police IG to come to parliament and explain why is abduction taking place. Makubura.
That's a tough one,
Yeah.
because you are asking the role of the parliament, and I can tell you that the role of the parliament that we have, the 13th parliament that we have, they have a role of protecting the government and speaking and defending the government. How would you expect a member of parliament to summon the IG if they're the ones who are going to, funerals and telling the people that these young people abducted themselves?
Makubura, let me tell you something. Yeah. In a working democracy of legislation, yeah, in a working democracy of a legislation, we have what we call the committees. The main role of the committees are they are investigating bodies. We have committees in charge of security. Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
when
Uh,
when when an issue like abduction is taking place, one of the things, they cannot even wait for speaker to come and convene. The chair has the right to call the members of the committee and summon the AG.
And that is why I've said that the role of members of parliament in the 13th parliament is to defend the government. They are forgotten.
Not the government. They are the same. You say that they are defending the executive. That is what could be the role, because all of them are in government.
Yeah, defending the executive led by the president. And that is why you're seeing them holding press, defending what the executive has said. In short, what I'm saying is the parliament that we currently have, we cannot really depend on them, because instead of protecting the people, they're the ones who are going out there and, in front of people, in front of the citizens, that and they're telling it in front of the president as well, that these young people were abducted themselves. These are the people who are supposed to be summoning, the IEG to ask them question why people are being abducted and they are not aware. It is, to me, the parliament has lost it, and we should, the people of Kenya should consistently strive to protect themselves, because so the parliament, they are forgotten. That's the fact. They are no longer with the people. They're no longer fighting for the people. They're no longer representing the people. But all they're doing is trying to please the president. You saw the kind of energy that the good member of parliament of Kikuyu spoke with in front of the president, while castigating the comments of one Governor Natembeya, who had just said that he was once a security officer and they know these things. Abductions cannot happen without the knowledge of the security apparatus, and if it is so that they're not aware, then there is a role that they need to do. They need to get out and use, because they have all the mechanism, the security apparatus, and the constitution also gives them, the power to find the abductors, and they had not done that. And so Natembeya simply said that you cannot come here in front of people and tell us that the young people are abducting themselves. You are the member of parliament, kindly protect them. And you saw someone who is supposed to be taking that in the floor of the parliament wanted to, and I also saw the moves of Atuoli. I thought when Atuoli was going to Ichongwa while he was giving his speech, I thought that he was telling him to divert the story or to stop that conversation. But what Atuoli told Ichongwa is he gave Natembeya money for campaign, and he wanted Kimani Ichung'wah to tell the people who are in that funeral that Atuoli gave him. This kind of useless behaviors, especially within people that, I would say that our life depends on, is so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Is so, I don't know. We need to come back to our senses as a people. And I want to pray and remind the people of Kenya that kindly, if we are going back to elections, let us elect leaders. Let us elect people who care. We've never seen the children of politicians going for demonstration. We hear some of them are in, actually out of the country, in the UK, in America. But us here, we're trying to ensure that our country that we belong is going to go to the right way.
How? Because unajua mimi ni mtu ambaye anapenda kuzungumza sana na kusikiliza sana wale ambao wanakuwa na mazungumzo sana sana ikifikia ama mambo ambayo inahusu uongozi, yeah? Na jambo ambalo mimi ningependa kusema ni hivi. Unaona, katika dunia hii unaweza kuwa uko na nguvu kiasi gani, unaweza kuwa unafanya chochote. Ukaona kuwa labda wewe ndio unaweza sana, lakini kuna jambo moja ambayo huwa inatushawazisha. Jambo hilo ni kifo. Labda ukuwe tajiri, ukuwe uko na nguvu kiasi gani, kitu moja ambacho itatuunganisha ama itafanya sisi tukue sawa ni pale mbele ya kaburi. Yeah. Na hata maviongozi ambao labda wanasema hivyo kulingana, labda unaona uongozi, mko na uongozi sasa, kuna ile vitu ambazo wewe uko sawa, itaisha. Hakuna uongozi ambao haiishi. Sisemi tu hata kama ni uongozi wa rais, uongozi wote tu, hata kama wale ambao walichaguliwa katika seneti, mbunge au wote, unaona.
Yeah, maybe I can give an example of what you just spoken about. If you remember, in the government of Hayati Mzee Moi, Hayati Mzee Moi really dealt with the citizens and those who had the opposing voice. And remember, he had there was a cabinet secretary, a very powerful one, who was actually being seen as the deputy president, by the name the Total Man. He was accused of so many things, and so many people cried for him. So many people said that he was, he knew whatever was happening badly to people who had dissenting voice. And today, Moi went, the total man went, and we're not saying that it is a good thing. This is just a reminder to those people in leadership. There comes a time that, the people that you are making their lives tougher, the people that you're making their lives difficult, they will one day remember what you took them through. And that is what we are reminding the government of Dr. William Samoei Ruto. We are in a time, this generation, you cannot use the old tactics, to silence people with having a different opinion. If you feel that the youths or the people in government feel that the youths are coming too much, the best thing, and it is in the constitution, arrest them and take them to court. Brother Ben, you are talking about something here, moral and immoral. We cannot say, okay, then let's say that they're saying that the youths were immoral, those who are, publishing such kind of images, let's say they were immoral. But again, remember, there is a constitution. They have done an immoral thing. What is the best thing to do? The people who are, the best thing to do is something which is moral. And the moral thing is let the police go and pick this gentleman and take them to court. It is immoral for them to also pick these people and disappear with them for 15 days, going against what the constitution says.
So, what is there is this, or what I believe is this. There is what we tend to believe, especially like everything that a leader says should be right. That if you go against the leader because you've been elected, so you feel you have the monopoly of saying what is right. For example, you may find that you have somebody whom is not a leader, but is younger than you, but is challenging your idea. Then in the process of him or her challenging your idea to you, you feel like with you being in the leadership or somebody being a big man or somebody in the society, you should not be challenged. So that's why you say like, okay, the son of so and so is not very respectful. Why? Because he has the audacity to argue with me, even on a moral grounds, whereby I'm just disagreeing with you on what you're saying is not right. So that entitlement of you being a leader, and by the virtue of you being a leader, you feel that you deserve, you are the right person, Yeah. But now come to the political class, because I know the politics is always there. It usually plays a politics. But things like abduction, these are things that are touching on the moral life. They are touching on not the moral life, but they're touching on the fabric of our nation. Yeah. One, you cannot justify that because so and so did it, the previous government did it, So it is okay for this private government to do it. So which means that is justification, which is not right. Then secondly, it also requires you as a leader, yeah, despite the political differences, yeah, there are things that we should politicize, yeah. And what are the things that we should politicize? Things touching on the life of a human being, we should not politicize that, yeah. We should make it our responsibility and work as a nation. And come to mention to you something about it, and there's this idea that Kenyans are united. Kenya, they want to unite. To me, Kenyans have always been united. And I've given several incidences whereby Kenyans will always come together. For example, when Faith Kipyegon, when something like when she wins some of our races and make those world record, she breaks those records. What happens? That every Kenyan will be tweeting, all the leaders will be tweeting and congratulating and talk about Kenya. They don't talk about Faith Kipyegon as coming from a particular area. No. People are united because she has made the Kenya proud. How many times have we seen the building collapsing, and on the debris there are so Kenyans who are buried in those debris? They will come from all walks of life, Kenyans, and they will use their hands or crude weapon, yeah, and to make sure that those Kenyans who are buried in the debris of the building are going to be rescued. They're united. No? But what is this unity that we are talking about? Because those are incidents that tells you who Kenyans are. And even like during this abduction, you would see on the Twitter or on the X space, like Kenyans from all walks of life were saying, okay, bring them back.
You've just reminded me of the comments of Kimani Ichung'wah. Kimani said that abductions happened in the last government of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And I remember him very well, him and his group. They came out and held a presser, and while in their rallies, and they said that it is wrong for the government to abduct young people. How do you think those families are feeling if you are abducting their children and then killing them in River Yala? Those were their comments. I can look for that clip later on. And so it was, I failed to understand when he came out today to support an abduction, something that just because he had a different opinion with the president, or he was not on the side of the president, he criticized. And today, he's the majority leader. He doesn't have the audacity to come out and tell the government that abduction is wrong. So what I'm seeing here is the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, the law. When you are in power, it is nothing. To you, you are not supposed to follow it. It is meant for the, it is meant for the subjects. But when you are on the other side, it should be followed. And that is what we've been seeing with the leadership of the Republic of Kenya.
No, and I agree with you. When we want to look at it, and that's why sometimes, like when I'm blaming the leadership, sometimes I don't put I cannot blame the president. Yeah, the reason why I cannot blame the president, because all these leaders, they know what they're doing.
And it's something else. I'm quite sure the president is doing what his circle is telling him. Yeah. You as a president, if the majority leader is telling it is okay,
it's okay.
If you listen to what the CS also said, the CS of Security, Interior, he also said it is okay. And what they need to do, that those people need to stop. And if they don't stop, they will enact some laws to ensure that they're booked. And the question is, if close top political leaders are the ones who are supporting this, what do you expect the president? These people are simply massaging the ego of the president. They're telling the president, you know what, you're the president, you have the powers. Do it. But the president is also doing it blindly. He doesn't know that the buck stops with the president.
I don't think that the president is doing it blindly. This is sponsored by Grace at 50 plus. Thank you so much for joining. And this is what, hey, host and viewers. Some people are doubting Kibet bull abduction, but how can Ruto allow anyone to deform his image and his legacy? I believe that this abduction were real. Yes, they were real. But something that also you have to know, my friend, is that in politics, anything can happen, because there are those who are supporting factions. Each and every faction wants to be right, and every opportunity that comes, somebody will utilize it, because like Kibet was saying that aliwachiliwa around 3 to 4, akaenda disco matanga, then somebody akauliza kwani alipatiwa mpaka fare, all that, na aliwachua, unaona. So that's how like the politics works. But all in all, the reason why I tend to believe, like, when now we come to the leadership and talk about the leadership, that in the political elite knows what they're supposed to, they know how they play their cards well, such that even the voters themselves do not know. I don't I don't I don't buy the idea that uh like uh like now the president William Ruto is the bad so much. Not that I'm supporting him or I'm supporting on because remember, when abduction was taking place, we had broad-based we had the BBI, the handshake government. Everybody was in handshake. There was no major opposition. Yeah. And the things like River Yala, the abduction and the deaths that were found on River Yala. And they were just forgotten like that. They did not get justice. And if you're very keen, look at the guy who was using to get those bodies out of the River Yala. At some point, he was warned. Yeah, that went like that. Now we are coming again in this government. Everybody's in. We are having now the unity, the government unity. The face of the country is all there. The face of the country is there. So everybody is there, and it's still happening. Yeah. So there's a way in which the political class know how to play their game. And the Kenyans, I don't know how the Kenyans will handle. And this one to bring me, I don't know whether you watched the video that was done by Gaucho. And the Gaucho was talking about, because there was supposed to be a maandamano today. And Gaucho also was saying, okay, now kama kuna maandamano na watu watakuwa wanapata haki yao, sasa watu wetu lazima watoke from wakuje all the maandamano, ndio watu wafanye nini to encounter that. Yeah, you saw what the Homa Bay Opondo Kaluma wrote on what he said. Yeah. So, and the voters are buying into it.
It's so unfortunate that the likes of Gaucho are being sponsored by political class to come out and make such kind of statements, because those are statements which are divisive. Those are statements which are not uniting, but actually those are statements which are casting aspersion. These are statements which are widening the gap of differences between people having certain belief. And if we were in a government that respects the people and where we've come from, the likes of Gaucho, the people should be in jail or should have been arrested to explain why they want to do such kind of things. Remember, if suppose they manage to do that, what that can do, because those people whom he's talking about, probably they would be paid. And when goons are paid, when you start fighting real people, when you start fighting a group of youths who are committed, you start bringing goons, then that is a war that you're starting in the old republic, and
But
that would not actually help.
But Makobura, we were here with you when we had we hosted one of the Jacaranda Bunge la Wananchi guy here. He said like they get us as much as less as $50, 50 shillings, I mean, to go for the protest. So
If yeah, he said, and the likes of Gaucho are the leaders of these kind of groups and whatever. And if this in a similar way, this is how gangs always regroup, and that is how they always form their gangs, and then they come to threaten the stability of the country. If such comments are not treated with a lot of care, then these people would take that advantage, and very soon utashangaa wakijiita ati a gang of I don't know what, they want to control the city of Nairobi. That is how the Haitian gang started.
I don't
That
think
is how they overthrew the government.
we
So
cannot.
such kind of comments should be treated by seriousness. The government should not actually give, or allow such comments to thrive, in the vicinity of the Republic of Kenya, because these are things now why not actually helping, but of course.
Let me check. Let me check that video for Gaucho if we can get it.
Yes, so it is so unfortunate that whenever people come out to speak their minds, some people are being sponsored to come and try fix themselves or to try join the team of serious true people who are fighting for what they believe in. And that is what we saw even during the demonstration. When the demonstration started, there's a group of people who are then being paid to counter the real demonstrators. And those are the people who ended up looting, stealing, beating, and doing all manner of things which are not right. It is not okay for a government to sponsor goons or a political class to sponsor goons to counter the citizens who are coming out to express their anger on a government that they woke up very early in the morning to go and elect.
Okay, let me see if we can just to let me see if we can
just click the play button.
Iko jambo ambalo nataka kuongelelea kuhusu maandamano ya Monday. Mimi nashukuru watu wetu ambao watakuwa Monday maandamano. Nyinyi pia mmetuchanua ya kwamba kumbe Monday ni siku government na magovernment ambayo ishakuwa wanaenda kupeana deni. So mimi nataka kuomba ya kwamba hata sisi tutawajoin kwa hiyo maandamano Monday ili mkidemand maandamano watu wapate justice kwa watu walishikwa, waliadaptiwa, waliuliwa kwa hii election ya jinsia ambayo imepita. Sisi pia tunataka kudemand ya kwamba Kenyatta aenda alipishe watu wa 1969, Moi alipishe ya 1980 to 1980, then waturudi 2007 2008, Kibaki pia atupee nafasi kulipa wale waliuliwa 2007 na 2008 Naivasha, Nairobi, Nakuru na sehemu nyingine ambayo watu wetu walikuwa naishi. The same time tunataka pia tukirudi 2013 tunataka Uhuru pia atuambie, na pia tunataka justice kwa wale waliuliwa 2013 wakapelekwa Rivayala 2017. Tunataka hao wakina Kibichu pia tunataka justice kwao, kwa sababu mabibi zao wametupigia, hata tushatuma fare ili wakuje. Watu wale watoto walibaki matima, tushatuma fare ili wakuje. Wale wamama walibaki ama wale bwana walibaki mila mabibi wao waliuliwa pia washafika. Wale watu wao walitupwa Rivayala wakupata pia watakuwa hapa. So mimi naomba watu wetu mtoke kwa wingi on Monday, kwa sababu ni siku tunaenda kutafuta justice. Although sisi tutakuja na wamama peke yao, tutajichanganya kwa watoto vijana ambao matima, wale vijana mabibi zao walichukuliwa, wale waliadaptiwa, watakuwa familia uchuka pia watakuwa huku. Aya, Raila Odinga pia kwa kushikwa, kuwekwa ndani, kuadaptiwa 9 good years ndani, pia tunataka justice, kwa nini alishikwa na kwa nini alifanyiwa hiyo. So nataka ya kwamba on Monday ni siku ya deni ilipwe, na mimi najua ya kwamba government inafaa watu consider kwanza, kwa sababu sisi watu wetu ndio walipotea na wameuliwa wengi, wakina Chuka, wakina nani, wakina Tom Mboya. Unaona, tunataka hiyo justice itupewe, then nyinyi pia mutapata. So mimi naomba watu wetu, on Monday ni siku watu na kutafuta justice. Sisi tunataka tu ya kwamba mtuambie mtaandamana pande gani na sisi tunaenda pande gani, ili watu wasikanyagane, kwa sababu hatujui tutakuwa na hasira kiwango gani. Wewe kumbuka 1969 watu wetu wakiuliwa mpaka leo, then tupewe pia justice kwa wale waliuliwa kwa cost of living ya juzi na mambo ya IBC juzi. So mimi nasema ya kwamba mtoke kwa wingi, ni siku ya watu kulipiwa deni na kupata justice on Monday. So mimi naomba watu wetu kutoka Mathare, Dandora, Korokocho, Ruma, Kisumu, wapi, tokeni Kakamega, Mombasa, Kisii, tokeni watu wanapatana Nairobi kapo CBD on Monday by 6 tutakuwa tunatafuta justice. Sasa zile wao wengine watakuwa wanatafuta justice, siwezi kuwa ya kwamba hao wanapigana wiki mbili wanataka justice na sisi tumeuliwa watu wengi, wengine wametupwa yala, hatujawai pata justice. So mimi nasema mtoke na government mtupe security ili mtu asikuja kutuchokoza. Sasa zile tunaandamana ile tu, mungetengeneza komiti ambayo tunatuambia mnaandamana upande hii na sisi tunafikia hapa, ili mtu asivuka aende pande ya watu wengine. So on Monday tafadhali tokeni kwa wingi, tuende tutafute justice kwa watu ambao washapotea, kwa sababu tumejua kwa mnyanya wengine kutoka mali pengine wametuambia ya kwamba ni siku ya Monday, ni siku watu kutafute justice. Hata sisi ambao tulishikwa tukapigwa cell ndani pia tujapewa justice, tutakuwa kwa hiyo maandamano. So Monday mtoke kwa wingi, itakuwa ya watu fulani peke yake, itakuwa ya watu ambao waliumizwa. Nikirudi niliona Deputy President Gachagua, former Deputy President Gachagua akisifu Raila Odinga kwa kuchagua watu wako na.
Hello Makobura.
Yeah, my comment on that is as much as is talking about justice, and it is okay for people to get justice in the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah.
But this, if you ask me, I would say this is a comment that has just come up, which how do I term it? It has its meaning. It doesn't have the first meaning the way you are getting it, but it has a hidden meaning. And so my question to him would be, does it mean that the people who are seeking for justice, the people who are abducted, as much as we didn't see Luo, because from his conversation, Villanongea, he speaks like he's speaking on behalf of Luos, of which he has a right to do that, yeah. But my question to him is, does it mean that if these youths were abducted and they're not coming from Lowland, then the people of Kenya should not come out to demonstrate, to demand for justice for them? That is the question that I would ask him, because he's trying to frame the whole thing as they're coming from a specific, region. And so the country should not, get in solidarity where they're going for demonstration for them. And that is wrong.
Okay, thank you so much. Or you have something to add? Mr. Laban, habari gani? Laban Misiani, hi, Brother Ben. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing good. Have said we need to understand the difference between arrest and abduction. Okay, and how one qualifies for abduction. Those are questions. So, and from Gaucho's talk, I will give you a general view and how people think in the country, or how we usually think. And this still brings us to the political class and the kind of politics we as a country we are doing, or the kind of politics that we are practicing. If you're very keen, I think you have in the past, you've interacted with some of the Gaucho statements. This is not the first time Gaucho is making such like statement. In the past, yeah, because we are very keen follower. Because in the politics, you have to give everybody a view or a chance to analyze what somebody says. What Gaucho says explain what our politics is all about. Remember, it was the other day in Bungoma that Mbadi said something, that there was a money that was borrowed and this money was used to build roads in the villages, and the Nakuru highway, something of the sort. I cannot paraphrase it well. There's the issue of our people. Yeah. So it tells you that our politics is so much rooted on the tribal that we are not going to run from it anytime soon. Yeah. Laban is reminding you, Makobura, that at Makobura, replace the word abduction and arrest. What is abduction and what is arrest?
Maybe you should come and somehow clarify what
I think
an arrest.
when you are arrested, the person who is arresting you must identify himself. You have to be taken to the police cells. You should not kept in comunicado, yeah, or you cannot. People should reach you, or you should be taken to any police station, which is a public place. But abduction is where you are being arrested forcefully and put in comunicado that your parents cannot reach you. That is called abduction.
And
So,
then I believe I was right in the choice of word that I used to express to express my points.
yeah. So, before we conclude, Makobura, so I think it is high time as voters and as leaders to decide on what kind of a country do we want to build. We might have political differences, yes, but there are those things that touches on us which are very universal to each one of us. No any other parent or no any other father would want their kids to be abducted and kept incommunicado for so long without them getting access. You know, it's so sad when the father of Billy was crying on the courts. You know, okay, let me see. Was Miguna arrested or abducted? Uh, Miguna was arrested. Remember?
Yeah, the police came and told him that we were taking you because of this and this.
Yeah,
In
and
this situation, the abduction that we saw, these people were forcefully taken. They were not actually, you know, when there were people around. The best thing is the police officer, the people who are abducting or taking them would have said that we are arresting so and so because of so and so. But since they did not say that, it was abduction. It is similar to kidnapping.
let's say, for instance, for Miguna, because one, it was very unconstitutional for police to come and break into your house. Police are allowed to break into your house if they've got the warrant. And they have to get the court warrant allowing them to break into your house. But if they break into your premises or your house without court order court order, then that is unconstitutional. But they can break into your house and identify themselves as police. Then they take you to police cells, because Miguna was taken to a police cell because he later came and said that. So, so that is, yeah, Ruto was the deputy president then. You're right. So during those abductions of President Uhuru regime, they all fall squarely on President Uhuru Kenyatta. In his regime, they will say, that's why even Kimani Chunga was saying during the last regime when you were the RC. So which means it's squarely on the head of state during that regime. Like right now, I used to tell people to read something called the Marigana massacre in South Africa, of when the workers were protesting of bad working condition and poor pay in South Africa, and it falls on the leadership of the day, you know. Uh, but that is what usually who gave him back the passport he acquired wrongly. I don't think Miguna acquired passport wrongly. I don't think so. He acquired it rightfully because one thing that usually happens under the 2010 constitution, um, you are a Kenyan by birth, and the Kenya um, agree in dual citizenship. And during the time when he came back, because remember remember, let me just give you a story of Miguna. Laban. Miguna was one of those people who did not were criticizing the government of President Moi in the process of criticizing that government. He went and um, went to Canada. A brief story: when he went to Canada, he came back as Raila Odinga advisor during the time when Otieno Kajwang, the late Otieno Kajwang Mapambano, was the minister for immigration. So when he was hired to be Raila Odinga advisor, I think that's when his everything was processed. Yeah, if I might not be no. So during the Grand Coalition, that's when his passport was given to him. But with the passing of the 2010 Constitution, if you're born in Kenya, you are a Kenyan by birth. So which means you have to get those. Why is he criticizing Kasongo again? This is the point, Laban. Sometimes in any government, you know, yeah, the constitution allowing him to get the passport is not the president. President does not give you the passport. That is your right at a constitutional right. Traveling documents, those are things that should be provided by the government, not the president. But president has the powers. He can facilitate or make a pronouncement, executive pronouncement, that this guy, the way during the last regime, yeah. So no, you cannot denounce. You cannot, because if you denounce you cannot denounce your citizenship, especially in Kenya. Yeah, Miguna denounced his citizenship and had no passport. He was using ID to travel. No, Miguna used the Kenyan passport. You cannot access any other country with an ID. The you can access other country by passport. Maybe he got the Canadian citizenship. So if he got Canadian citizenship, the Constitution of Kenya is allowing dual citizenship as compared to Tanzania. Tanzania does not allow dual citizenship. If you are in Tanzania and you go to another country, you get naturalized, you lose the citizenship of your country. I think Tanzania does not give dual, but Kenyans allow you to have dual citizenship, and that's why majority of Kenyans who are abroad, they have two passports. They have passports, especially those who have been naturalized in other areas. Yes, Miguna is a Canadian citizen. Yes, is a Canadian citizen, but the Kenyan constitution allows for dual citizenship. The majority of Kenyans who are outside the country, they have two passports. They travel with the two passports. When they come to Kenya, they use their Kenyan passport. So when at the port of entry, they don't need a visa. They enter with their passport. But when they will be leaving their home country, going to the country where they are naturalized, they will use those countries' passport to give them entry. So they will not buy visa. So that is what is happening because our Kenyan constitution allowed dual citizenship. That is that. So Miguna was a Canadian citizen, yes, but at the same time, after the promulgation of 2010 constitution, it gave Kenyan, provided that you are born in Kenya, you are a Kenyan by birth. So you don't denounce your citizenship. The constitution allows you to do that. I hope there I'm right. Yeah, so if you're born in Kenya, you are a citizen by birth. That is what happened. We ni Mkenya, we ni umezaliwa Kikenya. Sasa unapata wengi wa Wakenya ambao labda wametembelea nchi za nje wakakaa huko wakautafuta uraia, lakini katiba yetu inaruhusu kuwa raia ya nchi mbili. Yeah, katiba yetu inaruhusu hayo. Utapata wengi wa Wakenya ambao wanaishi katika nchi za Amerikani ama Europa ambao wamekubaliwa kukuwa na kukuwa uraia wa nchi hizo, wako na uraia ya hiyo nchi na uraia wa Kenya. So Miguna alikuwa sawa kwa sababu katiba ilikuwa imemruhusu kukuwa mraia wa Canada na vile vile mraia wa Kenya kwa sababu ni mraia kuzaliwa Kenya. Hiyo ndio inampatia hiyo citizenship. Laban, na hope tunakubaliana hapo. Hapo nadhani tunakubaliana Laban. Ya kabla tujafunga. Yeah. So ni ile tu masomo. Kitu ambacho mimi ningependa kusema ni kuwa ndio maana mimi nikiwa hapa, mimi ni Mkenya. Mimi huwa pali kosa itakuwepo, itabidi tuuzungumze kwa sababu tukiwa na uongozi bora, na uongozi si tu ule ambayo tuseme kwamba rais ni kiongozi, lakini pia kuna maviongozi wengine, kuna maviongozi wa kanisa lazima wakuwa wanajibika. Kuna viongozi wa tuseme kama sheria, wale ambao wanatunga sheria ama wale majaji ambao lazima wajibike. Kuna viongozi wa tuseme kama viongozi ambao wako katika parliament, senate and all that. They are leaders. So all this calls about the leadership of the country. Everybody who is in leadership, and they should do what is very right, and let us not have this entitlement that we have the entitlement. Those are not nice. Or Makubura, what do you say?
One thing I know. Okay.
Don't see the viewers, just continue. Many are watching underground. Feel encouraged. Thank you so much. May God bless you. Yeah, tutakuwa labda watu wamechoka, but we will always continue because we know at the end of the day, everybody wants a better country, Makubura. I don't think, when Kenya thrives, all of us will thrive. Yeah, yeah. Like when those boys were abducted, we cannot have the feelings that we cannot feel the pain the way the parents are feeling, but we share because it can happen to you. Yeah, we share. And those in leadership, they should also know that there's no government that will not be criticized. So you have to build a thick skin as a government, or as a leader, because people will come after you. So, but what do? Surprise them. Let's say if today those who are criticizing the president or those who are criticizing the government, if government can deliver some of the services that they need, make sure that the cost of living, make sure that especially the education sector is thriving. Make sure that the economy, especially if economy thrives, nobody bothers about the leadership.
Yeah, Kenyans are not mad people, and yeah, so sometimes you see Kenyans come out to speak their mind.
Yeah.
It is not that they are mad, like wanapinga kila kitu vile president alikuwa anasema, no. Kenyans, we also understand that running a country is not easy. We also understand there are departments here and there. But as those who are in leadership, they need to show us. Unajua wakituonyesha tu that they're doing something
Yeah.
yenye inaelekea where our wishes are, then we have no problem.
Yeah.
But in a situation where, for example, people are suffering, the issue of education is here, fee is stressing people, for example, issues to do with the fee. Your child would not be allowed in school if you don't pay the school fee.
Yes,
Wewe
true.
utang'ang'ana ulipe. Ukishalipa, of course, what do you expect? Good services. Unang'ang'ana unalipa, ukishamaliza kulipa, unapata ya kwamba government has also not played a part. Hawajalipa hawajalipa walimu wameenda kugoma. And then you ask yourself, but you played your part. Why is the government not doing their part? And then ukiuliza utaambiwa that the government hawana pesa. And then the question something else yenye utaona after some few days, ati mtu mmoja wawili wameiba bilioni na wako tu and there's nothing happening. That is where we are coming up to remind them that we need accountability. People are struggling to pay tax. People are struggling to, even afford their basic needs.
And Makobura, what now surprises me is about the kind of politics that now we are going to play. We are going back to our kind of politics, the retrogressive kind of politics of tribalism. By the way, I'm each and every show I will mention this, and 2027 will be that year that you will see it. Not even 2027. Let's do 2026, because after listening to the leaders on how they talk, the political class, it is so much clear that these are the narrative that is going to be used during the 2027 general election. And it's going to be about the unification and the tribe. Those who are not going to unite with us, those are people who are using the old tactics of politics. But we've always used the tribal, the tribal card. There's so many things that have always been repetitive in our country, especially when we are going towards election or when we are when a new government come in place. Yeah, everything is repetitive, and it tells you that some of them are not after the well-being of Kenyans. For instance, how many have ever since we've always had the broad-based government, but they come into phases. Yeah, the BBI was a broad-based government. Do we call it evolves, or what do we call it? How do we call it? Evolution. What is evolution? Evolution is it evolves and changes the name.
Yeah, evolution. For
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
we are being told by scientists that we evolved from Homo sapien, Homo habilis, Homo sapien, Homo sapien sapien.
No, there was which one? There was Homo erector. Oh,
Yeah, it started from Ramapithecus, Homo habilis, Homo sapien, Homo sapien sapien. There are Kenyapithecus, there are Ramapithecus.
so
That is history.
It evolves, right?
Yeah.
And that's what. But when you look at the evolution that we've gone through, or the many outfit that we've changed, actually it's not evolution, because with evolution we see changes. But
Yeah,
this
it is
yeah,
changes within stages,
no,
and the characters and the behaviors are also different depending on every stage.
which means evolution is not the best word to describe what I want to do. Play me with the droid. So I'm talking about the changing of outfits. And remember IPPG, that was during the Moi regime. Moi convinced IPPG, and their main aim was like, there was what is happening. People came together as a country. They were moving together. Then we came up with the grand coalition, and it happened after so many people lost their lives. Yeah. And remember, during those days, everybody that is in government now, they were there. The outfits were different. They were putting on different outfits, but they're the same people. Then came the BBI, same people, different outfit. Now it is broad based, same people, different outfit. The outfit is the naming. But if you look very keenly, is there progress that we've made?
It's called metamorphosis.
Yeah, we've not made any progress, because if all the broad-based government and everything that is coming, bringing all the political together, one of the agendas has always been IEBC and our election. Yeah. So we tend to believe if we did not get it right in the first step, the second step we could have got it right. But we've never got it right. Even in 2027, something of the sort might repeat itself. Yeah. Where we will disagree, courts, then come, kuna vitu ambazo lazima tuangalie. And it's so perfect that there are people who are chosen the people who are forming committees to speak on the principle. Remember, they call it the two principle. What does it mean to say the two principle?
The true principle are the one who have been holding us hostage as a country.
So, yeah, you know about holding us hostage as a country. When we talk about two principles, what does it come to your mind?
Like two people are the only people who have the right to make decisions.
And they have the same powers.
Yeah.
Because they are two principles.
Yeah.
So, which means when we go when we go through these changes, we say like the two principles have agreed. So the two principles, which means they are people with the same powers, and they have the people that they will always put their names forward to communicate on their behalf or negotiate on their behalf. And when the negotiations are taking place, you serve the interest of your principle. When you're going for those negotiations, there are demands that you're going with. You just work in those negotiations. Yeah. But one of those negotiations has always been around the IEBC and constitution. The how can we work in IEBC? That is, but when that IEBC is given the light, the people who are given those positions, the people are given position, they're the people who are going to bid for their masters, and they don't see anybody beyond their circles. Yeah. Remember, when you come to 2022 general election, if the four commissioners, the Cherera four, decided that okay, the results that are being announced, those are not the true finding of Kenyans. They are going to read their results, or they are going to read make announcement of results that are not reflection of Kenyans. But the other side also says so, and the political class will take sides. That those who are going to support those who supported the Cherera four, then those who supported about the supported the who the Chebukati. Same thing. Next year, same thing. So we don't uh anasema monarchy rule. I mean, yes, it is kind of like monarch, because and I can bring that monarch in that the political cousins knows on how they get the power. Na wewe utakuwa unabaki kama Mkenya unakasirikiana na ndugu yako. Huh? Huh? Like say right now when you go to the internet, you would see that spot of how a certain community is belittling another community. The pronouncement or the pronouncements that are made by these politicians would tell you where we are. Yeah. Yeah. But what happens? And have you seen them when they are going for these commissions, these committees? Do they usually go to court and even do the deposits with the court? Say that, okay, this is what we've agreed on. We are going to do like this, and these are what we are going to do. But other time they usually go to court to determine the fate of every Kenyans. Now lazima tuende kotini, lazima tujue ni nani alishinda uchaguzi. Yes, lakini kama ndio hiyo koti washafanya uamuzi wao, wakati ambapo sasa wanarudi kama au tu kivyao, wanataka kujadili tuone nchi songe mbele na watu wakuje wakuwe kama kitu kimoja. Hakuna utaona kama kotini, hakuna mambo ya kotini, wataitengeneza tu hao wenyewe then watakuja nasema kuanzia leo tumeamua kuunganisha Wakenya pamoja, na hizi ndio baadhi ya vitu ambazo venye tunaunganisha Kenya itakuwa ni vitu ambazo tunataka kuangalia, mambo ya IEBC, mambo kuhakikisha kwamba gharama ya maisha imerudi chini. Lazima tuite watu wakuwe katika positions, you know. Yeah. So mi sidhani kama ni mara ya kwanza ambao Rais Ruto anaifanya, ni jambo ambalo imekuwa ikifanyika katika mlingo wa siasa yetu. Siasa yetu imekuwa hivyo, ni siasa ya sijui naweza sema aje. Na pia Wakenya pia wamo ndani, kwa sababu provided mwanasiasa mwingine ashasema mimi niko hii upande, hata kama ulikuwa umefanya makosa gani, hakuna mtu, wewe sasa watakuwa wanasema wewe ni mtu mzuri. So inafaa hata wale ambao wanapiga kura wajielimishe. Tusikue tu ni watu ambao wanasema kwamba maviongozi ambao sisi tunawachagua ni wabaya. Hao maviongozi nyinyi wenyewe ndio mliamka asubuhi kwa wapiga kura kusema kwamba tutabadilisha maisha yenu. Na mbona sasa wewe unasema kwamba uongozi huo si. Sasa kabla hujamnyoshea kiongozi fulani mkono, wewe pia jionyoshee mkono, useme bwana, wewe kesho mimi nitafanya vyema, ndaenda nikichaguana, nitachagua viongozi ambao wako na hekima na ambao wanasikiza mambo ya wananchi. Makoburu, unasema aje? Mimi nataka kushukuru sponsored by Grace at 50+. Mimi nakushukuru sana kukuwa na sisi kwa kipindi. Tutakuwa tunaenda hewani kila wakati tukipata muda. Usikose kuungana na sisi. Yeah, we thank you so much for interacting with us, and we will continue to have these shows and remind people what is best, yeah, for us, and what are we looking in the leadership. Yeah. And if you are not happy with the kind of leadership that we have, then the answer is in the ballot. Jibu iko pale katika sanduku la kupiga kura. Hapo ndio majibu iko. Utakosoa, unaweza kosoa serikali, utamkosoa serikali ama utakosoa kiongozi fulani, lakini mwishowe kuna wakati utapatiwa nafasi wewe mwenyewe kama Mkenya. Na hiyo nafasi itakuwa wewe upige kura, uamue kwamba huyu alikuwa tufanyia kazi vizuri, ndio, lakini kama kazi yake ilikuwa mbovu, basi patiana mwingine tena nafasi. Makubura, your mic is mute. Yeah, is IBC. Na mimi unajua, I agree. Ruto is not planning to follow ballot. That's why no IBC, and he want to rule like a king. No more 5 years. Kenyans, be careful. Kasongo is a nightmare to Kenyans. Let me tell you, I agree with you on that, but also be very careful, because look at now, when we talk about the IBC issue, you know, there's the issue of Kalonzo Musyoka is here with the IBC. There's that person that Kalonzo proposes that That's why the case is in court. Yeah. That's why I tell you, when it comes to IEBC, the political class do not see beyond their friends, their tribe, their their associates. Because one, you cannot take somebody like me to be in the IEBC because, if I'm given the mandate, I'm not going to lobby for your interest. I will make sure that I deliver to Kenyan credible election, that I will give justice to Kenyans by giving them the 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 result in the real time. Yeah. Because there's that um we do not trust, that mistrust between the leaders themselves. So that's why, like, somebody has to be there to look for your interest or to lobby for your interest. Yeah. So that's why the IBC is not going to be formed. But all the politicians like that. Or Makobura, what do you say about the IABC? You're muted. Okay. Hey, seemingly Makobura, your net is not. I don't know what is happening. Uh, huh. Okay. Let me see what I can do. Yeah, for Makobura, there's no sound. Yeah. Can you hear my sound too? Or Makobura? Can you hear my sound? Hmm. For mine too, or for both of us? Oh, let me see. Hello? Hello? I think I've also lost the sound for all of us. No, my sound is okay. Is it mine or for Makobura? Oh, for me is okay. For Makobura, Makobura does not have sound. Mine is okay. So, let me see if Makobura can fix his mic and try to come back. So, it is upon Kenyans themselves to decide on what kind of leadership do they want. It all boils around to leadership. But from me, from my analysis that I've seen or I've been here and I've been talking, the political class will not give you the solution that you want, because uh, those are the breed of politicians that we've always voted for, and based on how sometimes they handle these issues, I tend to believe they have failed the masses, of not uh, giving the masses what they want, what the country needs. We focus um, on uh, negative part, because right now, um, the politicians are focused about 2027 on how they can build coalitions. That is what is at stake, and I don't think that so many things are going to be achieved. And maybe president can also prove us wrong, but from from the way from the way things are, because one, uh, uh, the debt that we have, our collection, our revenue collection is mm, a good percentage of it is going on payment of debt. Mm. So that's why things are not working out. But the politicians will want to tell you that things are working out, people are united. Mm. So all the politicians, be it in Kenya Kwanza, the ODM, there are those who reason with Kenyans and have agreed, okay, things are not working, but we can work on it. But there are those who are not. So let's keep on watching. thank you so much. Sponsored by Grace at 50 Plus. If you're new in our channel, kindly subscribe. And whenever we go live, we can interact. And thank you so much for interacting with me or with us. We really, really appreciate. And may God bless you. And it is kind of like too late. Let me close the show. If you're new here for the very first time, kindly subscribe and be part of this channel. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.